In the late summer of 1837, a coalition of impoverished farmers and Pueblo Indian warriors picked up their weapons and marched on their own capital. They were out to violently overthrow the Mexican government. Look at this map of the region from that era. Notice the vast, empty expanse separating the central administration in Mexico City from the northernmost territory, Nuevo Mexico. Because of that punishing distance, the people living out on this rugged frontier were used to managing their own affairs. To compensate them for holding down a dangerous northern border, the federal government had historically given these settlers a massive economic concession, a complete exemption from federal sales taxes. Then, in 1835, Mexico City dispatched Colonel Albino Pérez to take control. Pérez was an aristocratic military officer from the wealthy heartland, sent north with a clear mandate to bring the frontier in line with strict new centralist policies. He arrived wearing fine military uniforms to rule over people dressed in homespun cloth. A wealthy outsider was now attempting to impose distant authority on a fiercely independent, untaxed frontier. To fund his new administration, Pérez began issuing decrees. He demanded $5 a month for the right to cut timber. He charged 25 cents for every head of livestock driven through Santa Fe, and even slapped a 50-cent fee on permits to hold local dances. As these unfamiliar fees hit the local economy, panic set in. Rumors swept up the Rio Grande Valley. People whispered that tax collectors would soon confiscate a third of their crops, claim their chickens, and even charge men a fee every time they slept with their own wives. The tension finally snapped in the town of Santa Cruz. The local mayor, Juan José Escabel, openly defied Governor Pérez's orders by releasing a prisoner and refusing to pay the resulting fines. Pérez's administration retaliated immediately. Government officials stripped Escabel of his position, arrested him, and threw him into a jail cell in iron shackles. Locking a respected local leader in chains was a step too far. It converted the swirling anxieties about taxes into a sharp, unified outrage, lighting the fuse for full-scale war. On August 1, 1837, a furious mob descended on the jail in Santa Cruz and broke Escabel out. He immediately helped organize a rebellion calling itself the Canton. This was a highly unusual coalition, with local Hispano villagers joining forces with indigenous warriors from the surrounding communities. Hearing of the uprising, Governor Pérez hastily assembled his militia, grabbed a few loyal officials, and marched out of Santa Fe to crush the rebels near the volcanic outcropping of Black Mesa. But when the government forces arrived, they found themselves staring down a massive, heavily armed indigenous and Hispano army. Instead of fighting, the vast majority of Pérez's own troops immediately defected to the rebel side. Suddenly, overwhelmingly outnumbered, his military authority evaporating in minutes, the governor and a handful of loyalists turned their horses and fled desperately toward the south. That mass defection laid bare a stark reality. The distant central government was an illusion. It held zero actual power on the frontier without the consent of the locals. Pérez never made it to safety. Under the cover of night, a group of warriors from the Santo Domingo Pueblo intercepted the fleeing governor just outside the capital. They executed him on the spot. They then decapitated him, bagged his head, and carried it back into Santa Fe as a grisly trophy. Over the next few days, the rebels hunted down and slaughtered more than 20 of Pérez's top officials, completely obliterating the Mexican administration and leaving a total vacuum of power. To fill that void, the victorious rebels made a choice that shocked the political establishment. They installed José María González, an illiterate indigenous buffalo hunter of Taos Pueblo and Genízaro descent, as the new governor of the territory. In a matter of days, the poorest citizens had decapitated the aristocracy. The installation of González marked a total inversion of the social hierarchy, briefly creating the most ethnically inclusive government in New Mexico's history. This populist victory terrified the wealthy elites living in the southern half of the territory, the Rio Abajo. They found their champion in Manuel Armijo, who organized a counter-revolution, gathering a force to march north and crush the Canton. He declared the indigenous-led government illegal and poured money into rallying a well-equipped southern army. When Armijo's trained troops clashed with the rebel forces in the north, the fighting was brief. Lacking formal military training and modern equipment, the rebel lines rapidly collapsed. The peasants had won the initial riot, but they could not win a war of attrition against organized capital. This counter-coup was, at its core, a class war. the elites using military force to violently restore the old social order. As his forces scattered, Governor Gonzalez walked directly into Armijo's camp. He attempted to surrender peacefully, asking only for a guarantee that his people would be spared from the federal taxes. Armijo offered no negotiations. He turned to a nearby priest, told him to confess the fallen governor, and ordered Gonzalez executed by firing squad. With the rebels executed or imprisoned, Armijo claimed the governorship for himself, officially re-establishing Mexican federal authority over the territory for nearly another decade. The 1837 rebellion lasted barely 6 months, but it proved exactly who these settlers were. They were fiercely autonomous, capable of uniting, and willing to bleed for independence. It was a violent lesson in frontier defiance, and exactly the kind of resistance the Americans would face when they marched into this same territory just 10 years later.